What if the United States is quietly breaking apart, right now? Not in some distant future. Not with tanks or war. But with whispers. With laws. With states ready to ditch the US and join Canada. Sounds crazy? It's already happening, in town halls, state capitals, and behind closed doors. Governors are trending. Senators are speaking out. And entire regions are questioning their place in the Union. Could your state be next? Let's find out, because once you see who's on this list, you'll never look at the American map the same way again. Number 10. New York. The Empire State. Cultural powerhouse. Financial hub. But something's shifting under that skyline. One senator didn't just criticize federal policy. She said the quiet part out loud. Maybe it's time New York joined Canada. What? Why? Because millions here feel Washington has stopped listening. From civil rights to climate funding, the disconnect is real. And if a place as powerful as New York is thinking about jumping ship, others won't be far behind. Number 9. Connecticut. Quaint towns. Coastal mansions. Ivy League charm. But behind the beauty, something's breaking. Youth are fleeing. Corporations are downsizing. The middle class? Crushed under taxes. Connecticut leaders are starting to ask, is DC still working for us? And some quietly say, maybe it's time for something new. Like a flag with a maple leaf. Number 8. Massachusetts. The birthplace of the American Revolution. Now quietly eyeing a new kind of revolution. Massachusetts was one of the first states named in the idea of a regional shift to Canada. Why? Because the gap is growing. A healthcare. A gun laws. A climate policy. Core state values are clashing hard with federal decisions. And while there's no official bill, the public mood is shifting. Waiting. Watching. Calculating. Number 7. Vermont. Rolling hills. Dairy farms. Peaceful towns. But look closer. Vermont is listening, not to DC, but to itself. Some voices asking, why fix a broken system when we could join a better one? This isn't new. Back in 2003, Vermont held a secessionist convention. It was laughed off back then. Not anymore. Shared values. Shared culture. Shared border. Vermont and Quebec are more connected than you think. And if the cracks widen, Vermont could be the first to walk. Number 6. Michigan. Factory towns fading. Water crises that never end. Federal help that always comes too little, too late. Michigan is frustrated, fed up, with broken promises, with jobs vanishing, with infrastructure collapsing. And Canada, it's already Michigan's biggest trade partner. Nearly half of its exports flow north. Some are now asking, would we be better off aligned with Canada? If a Great Lakes coalition ever forms, Michigan could be its heart. Number 5. Washington. Pike Place. Amazon. Evergreen charm. But underneath the glow of Seattle's skyline, this state is drifting. It pays more in federal taxes than it gets back. A progressive laws blocked by federal courts. A climate, healthcare, gun safety, all under threat. 60% of voters in Western Washington say they want more control, even if it means separating. And here's the twist. Seattle has more in common with Vancouver than with Houston. The vision of Cascadia, a West Coast alliance, isn't a meme. It's a movement. Number 4. Maine. Foggy harbors. Lobster boats. A peaceful life. But Maine isn't so peaceful anymore. The state exports billions to Canada. And in many ways, they're already economic partners. But now, the political divide is fueling a new question. Why stay in a system that doesn't work for us? Local leaders have floated dual citizenship, trade pacts, even regional autonomy. The ties to New Brunswick and Nova Scotia are strong. If frustration keeps building, Maine might not be just a neighbor, it might be family. Number 3. California. The 5th largest economy in the world. More billionaires than countries. Hollywood. Silicon Valley. Napa. And yet, California is done being ignored. It pays billions more in taxes than it gets back. a constantly fights for disaster relief, a climate goals blocked at every turn. The Calexit idea used to be fringe. Not anymore. 2/3 of Californians say they want more independence. From Congress. From outdated laws. From national politics that don't reflect who they are. And if California ever really steps away, it could stand alone and thrive. Number 2. Alaska. Vast. Rugged. Cold. Proud. Alaska is already semi-autonomous in many ways. It relies heavily on oil revenue, but that well is running dry. And federal aid? Fading fast. Here's what's wild. There's an active independence party in Alaska. And it's not a joke. Many Alaskans want control over their own air resources, air taxes, air laws. They believe their future won't be built by Washington, but by Alaskans themselves. And they may have the resources to pull it off. Number 1. Oregon. Forests, wine country, tech cities. A liberal stronghold, but one that's reaching a breaking point. Housing costs are exploding. Homelessness rising. Climate disasters worsening. Rural communities forgotten. And all the while, Washington, D.C. seems deaf to Oregon's needs. Some here are whispering about redefining the future. Not breaking away out of anger, but out of survival. Out of necessity. And if enough states start thinking the same way, the map may never look the same again. You just saw the 10 states where secession talk is no longer fiction. Where cracks in the system are deep. And the desire for something different is growing. Is it just posturing? Or the beginning of a new era? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. When states start whispering about leaving the US, the rest of us should start listening. If you found this eye-opening, hit like, smash that subscribe, and share this with someone who still thinks the US map is set in stone. Because truth is, it's not. And we're just getting started.